යව තීමගේ දැසට නොපෙනී යව ගල්ගසා මැරීම හොඳ වැඩි තීහට ඊටත් වඩා දුක් වෙන මරු දිටේ යුතුයි tී. You have seen it, my funeral. I'm like, oh my goodness, am I going to be singing that for the rest of my life?
You are in a dying industry now.
Sad to say, but we compete with cable TV or we
Netflix,
compete.
yeah.
I don't want to mention the particular network.
So here we are back with season 2 of the Fame Game with the gorgeous, I have to say it, Rozanne, Diasz, and myself on Fame Game. And what better guest that we have today? But before that, we are here at the beautiful new location here, La Maison de Colombo, the French boutique hotel and restaurant at Stratford Avenue in Colombo 5, famous for its crème brûlée, its beurre bourguignon, its croissant, its pain au chocolat, and of course its ratatouille. So anything French, gastronomy, cuisine, the wines, the champagnes, you've got to come here. La Maison de Colombo at Stratford Avenue in Colombo 5. Enough of my gastronomic binge. We now have our very celebrated guest, Jehan Aloysius. Correct? Aloysius. Okay, Aloysius.
He has never met me before.
I think Aloysius, and he frowns. So you're very busy with Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol.
Yes, I am.
Spill the tea, the coffee, the beans.
Right.
Whatever.
First of all, I'm very happy to be here with this gorgeous individual over here, and also anyway.
Not the
But
flattery.
anyway, no, really. Yes, I'm working on a Christmas Carol, and I'm very excited about this project. I've been working on it for 3 years on the music and adapting the script. I've got a fantastic cast, and I believe you were at the preview last year. Almost a year ago, and we're really excited that Colombo audiences will finally get to see the world premiere of a brand new adaptation of A Christmas Carol. So yeah, that's about it for now. I'll ask me more questions.
How different is this from Charles Dickens' original Christmas Carol?
Well, let me say that if you're doing an adaptation, you've got to really immerse yourself in the original novella or novel, and you've got to really research the period and the time he was writing it, the issues and the location and the geography and some of the social issues. So my adaptation tends to expand on some of the things that Charles Dickens had really touched on briefly, because he didn't want to make his novella too complicated. He wanted it to be a family novel for children and adults, but essentially for children also, to change the way people looked at Christmas, to make it a more generous, giving celebration or season. This was at a time when Christmas was not the big celebration. It was just a winter celebration, but not a big celebration. But Charles Dickens was instrumental in changing the way people looked at Christmas. There's a very successful movie that came out just a couple of years ago called The Man Who Invented Christmas, which is about Charles Dickens and how much of an impact the novella had on the way people looked at the season. So my script, it is not just, if you're familiar with the story, it's about an old miser, Scrooge, who I am playing, and his transformation from being an evil, greedy miser into a more generous, giving, empathetic man. And in my adaptation, I thought it was important that it wouldn't be just magic, because his transformation is due to meeting these multiple spirits, the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future, his past, present, future. And he transforms almost like instantly when he wakes up in the morning. I feel that for present day society and for continuity and for my message to be a little bit clearer, I felt that the community also had to change, because I feel that kind of change is something that is less magic, because one person transforming can help 1 or 2 people, but a community transforming can be generosity to so many more people,
Entire society.
So, exactly. So my musical changes that a little bit more to incorporate a more of a transformation within the community as well, through the catalyst being Scrooge as well. but also to talk about disability, where we have Tiny Tim, the little boy who is a disabled young chap who in the novella, in the future, we find that he has died, but then because of Scrooge's transformation, he has not. I felt that surfacing that because of the work that I've done with disabled soldiers, or the disabled community in Sri Lanka, I felt it was important to really surface that element as well, to make it a little bit clearer. So I think those are some of the changes that I've done in the script, but also the script is full of some of my best music. I mean, if I don't mind saying so myself, I think you've heard some of those songs.
Yeah, we were there at the preview, and
yeah.
it's difficult for me now to relate to you out of character, because you played the character so well. Do you think that this is your best work?
Well, I feel that some of the songs in the script are probably some of my better ballads and stronger lyrics. Especially there's a song called A Father's Heart, which a lot of people connected to very much.
That touched all our hearts that day.
I loved it.
I mean, for me, that was me also grappling with my own relationship with my father. And there are many, when you talk about the adaptation and how I've surfaced certain other elements. That is another theme in Dickens, which I thought was important, the father-son element. Scrooge has no children, but he finds a foster child in Tiny Tim. And it's also about his relationship with Fred, his nephew, who is like a son to him. And I thought that theme was really important. So that song and several other songs, I feel are some of my more beloved songs that have not had an audience as yet. Yes, go ahead.
Who and what's your cast like?
You've changed the cast since the preview,
Yes,
right?
the preview cast committed to the preview performance, and I asked them just to be available for 2 months. We worked on Saturday afternoons, and we did the preview in December last year. I was thrilled with that cast. They were fantastic. But the full length production is now, that was about 50 minutes long, the preview, but this is a almost 2-hour production, and it's in 2 acts, and we've got a fantastic cast. I don't think you should or could compare the 2 casts, but I do believe that each cast is absolutely perfectly cast for each version. And I'm thrilled that we have Sean Amarsekara and even Arjuna Vignaraja coming back to theatre, Jehan Aloysius, who's also a cousin of mine, who's returning to theatre after 20 years, who's an opera singer. We've got Dion Naniakara, who is like the next generation of musical theatre, playing young Scrooge and also playing Fred in this. We've got everyone playing dual roles. So even Sean is playing Bob Cratchit and playing Fezziwig, and then Arjuna is playing the Ghost of Christmas Present, but also playing Jacob Marley. And we've got all these characters playing these dual roles that are completely different to each other.
Pure talent.
And it's a thrill to be at each rehearsal. And our neighbors get to hear the performance. And I was recently sent...
Don't they complain, the neighbors in your condominium?
Well, in the condominium, I must say that they've been very kind. They're very understanding. For 18 years I've been there. And,
so then obviously they are used to it, right?
And they have been really supportive. I must say that one of my students who lives a few lanes down sent me a video, and he said this video doesn't do justice to the voices, but our voices were carrying over Kolpiti from the 11th floor of the building that I live in, all the way to his home. And you could hear the finale. Yeah, I could hear the finale with all those amazing voices. And I was thinking, oh, they can hear it so many buildings away. My neighbors downstairs have not said anything, but I think they're immensely understanding. And I hope to invite them all to see the show, because they've heard it.
You're
invited
free of charge
Yes,
to see what you heard.
Yes.
With all your theatre experience, have you had a chance or an opportunity that you had to improvise then and there on stage?
All the time.
And anything unforgettable?
All the time. In every massive show, there are massive things that go wrong. And you've got to cover up for those, and the show goes on. But what's important is that what I tell my actors also is not to show the mistake, because most often people see your reaction to the mistake rather than the mistake itself. So when I say don't show the mistake, it's showing your reaction to it, because you also then start to think about it and you make more mistakes.
Yes.
But most often we are covering up for people's, technical things that have not gone right, or even in the most. I mean, I've traveled and watched theatre overseas in the West End and things like that. And I remember watching Lion King, which we performed many, many years ago, decades ago. And I watched a matinee show because I was at the Strand Hotel, which is just behind the Lyceum Theatre. And I would hear them rehearsing, every day. And then I thought I must see the matinee performance. And I went to see this. And I was wondering why Mufasa and Zazu, these characters, were ad-libbing a little bit and talking about tennis, which had nothing to do with and almost like current affairs. And then the layer scene for Scar's, I played Scar, came in, and there was a technician, a blonde technician with earphones and a black t-shirt, working on something on the set. And I was thinking, if this can happen on the West End,
Yes.
in a show that has been running for 12 years, then but thankfully none of those things have happened in our local theatre like that.
Yeah.
We haven't drawn attention to those things either. But these things do happen. I mean, people have said that they've gone to see the Phantom of the Opera, and Raoul missed his cue and the entrance, and then was standing in the wrong spot, and things like that. So things like that do happen. But what I try to do with my actors is to see that everything that can go wrong goes wrong during the rehearsals, so that by the time of the show, they're not
Super
phased out.
experienced about all this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's important, because also in life, we've got to go around things. If we're going to hit obstacles, things are not going to go the way that we want it to. My life has been like that, right? So I battle multiple things emotionally, physically, health-wise, financially. I've gone through all of it. Everything that you can
You
think
had
of.
to be rushed to hospital after a phantom or a limb.
Yes, my phantom, my knee dislocated, and I did the final bits of the show with my knee dangling, unable to put it back in, and then I was on crutches for several months actually, and I'm still. I think I tore and snapped tendons and ACLs and various things. I've had lots of things like that happen. Even the night before Nutcracker, I was in the emergency after I was working on that disability project, and I remember I was in the emergency, and they thought it was like a cardiac episode. And people was doing the ward rounds and said, "Me and the inne," if you don't mind me speaking in Sinhala, this is Mr. Aloysius, and he is the suspected cardiac episode. But whether we like it or not, he's got a performance this evening, and he will leave at 2 p.m. because he's going for his show. So I waited till the reports came, and when they said the blood report said that it wasn't that, I left. I said, "Get me out of here," because I had Dino Correa and some of the others coming. They were working on the souvenirs. I said, "See that my disability cast does not know what's going on here, because we've got opening night, and I'd come home after dropping everyone home and things like that." And we had a fantastic run, standing ovations and things like that. It was Nutcracker, the play. And I had disabled soldiers and the deaf community in the play. And things like that do happen. They do happen.
So
Rozanne,
much of passion for theatre,
He's
no?
also equally proficient in Sinhala. Fire those Trojan lines.
Ketaram Sundar the Mayudas. Hiru delay over to Hiru. So it's like that. It's like, I played that role from 1999. It's the only major Sinhala language role. that I've done. I don't know whether it's suitable for this, but
It is.
No, it's fine.
So I've got
Impress us.
Yava team of it, there's no penny Yava. Galgasa Marim Honda Vedi Hunter. Eat of Vada, took with the Maruditi to tea. So in order to get that, I have to usually practice to say Maruditi to tea. Those are not naughty words. This is Euripides, and
Yes.
it's like 3,000 years old or whatever, the script. But it was my honor to perform on stage with Yasoda, Anoja, Meena Kumari, Neil Alas, some of the greats of theatre. And I was so young. I think I'm more close to the actual age of that character now. This was in 1999, and we performed that show
Many
and
times.
overseas, locally.
Yes.
We've done almost like maybe 500 shows or 600 shows.
Of all the characters you've done, English theatre, which particular one would still be the closest, not close, they're all close, the closest to your heart?
Well, Valjean was life changing for me. Phantom was the role I always wanted to play, but that's all drama and fabulousness. Valjean changed my life and my outlook on how I look at society. And um, recently, there was a squatter or someone who broke into one of my properties, and and though the neighbors had alerted me, I went over there ready to this, but I didn't call the police because I went in there and I told him to come out. I kept my distance, of course, but he really looked like Jean Valjean. He had the beard and the long hair and everything. And then I found like the bags that he has, because I realized he wasn't a thief because it was in front of the house. He was not trying to hide or whatever. And he had this bag with like crumbs of bread and curry, these gravy packets, which probably from restaurants that they discard, that they put together in bags. And something in me, I don't know why, I didn't want to, I just said, just go and take your stuff and go. And I didn't make a big scene or hand him over to the police or anything because he did break into the house. But he was like squatting in the front of the, in the compound in front. And when because I was told to share it to the neighbors to say, be careful, this guy has come in, because we did find that he had purloined some small things, petty things, but to survive, not really like taking things to sell. And then people said, that's like Jean Valjean. You did that, when you were 19 and whatever. And then I was like, oh, right. So that moment, I didn't know why I did it, but it seemed familiar. And then when people kept saying it was probably because I played that role, I don't know whether it was, I don't think that was top of my mind at all, but it was a little bit of a similar, I've seen that guy around Kolpiti, so I know he's around still and whatever, but he didn't really do any other than breaking in, which he probably shouldn't have done. Didn't really steal anything and do any physical harm to anyone. So I think the neighbors were alerted, and I did, this. But I think that was something that, sometimes a play can really change you. The plays that I write have changed people in the audience, and that's what we do through theatre.
Yeah.
Is to try and even a play like fantasy, like A Christmas Carol, but my Venus United, Reg, all my musicals, even Crossing the Line, which was longlisted for the Gratian Prize last year, one of the 8 better works I think that they selected, which is the first time for a musical to be longlisted for the Gratian
that's a
Prize.
great achievement.
Yeah, it was about the war, and it's about whatever. So all my plays have something. More than just frivolity and things like that. And I think Les Mis also, whether you are Christian or not or whatever, it has it's about human nature, unconditional love, and the ability to forgive and to change your life. And that's what Valjean does. And I think playing that role so many times, I played it in 96, 97, and then again in 2015, you start to live that. And I think it really changed me. It gave me so many opportunities, gave me a job, gave me opportunities to travel. Even with you, Kumar, I think I've sung Bring Him Home. I've sung that I've done that song for so many of my dear friends' funerals. So sad to say it. So it triggers me. Because and some people then come up to me and say that song is beautiful, you have to sing it at my funeral. I'm like, oh my goodness, am I going to be singing that for the rest of my life?
You are going to book it
at people's funerals.
Book you, please.
So I've written in Christmas Carol, I've written a prayer, which is one of the only like real poignant moments other than A Father's Heart, which is a moment which I feel I wanted to channel the same emotions. It's a prayer very much like God, Bring Him Home, which is for Scrooge, and he transforms in that when he finds that his actions have killed a little child. And I thought that was really important to try and have that moment in my play. I don't know whether it was perfectly delivered in the preview, and so I've restaged it for the new performance so that it can really hit home the way it should. And it's more spaced out because we've got a nice scene that leads up to it. And So things like that. So yeah, those are some of the things that we go through, these challenges and these
That's
rules and
what
everything.
was my next question. We see the outcome as audience, but I'm sure you have faced many challenges in putting this entire production together.
Yes, because when we did the preview, I mean, I spent on it through my own finances, and most often, even when we did drag and various other projects, I fill in the deficit, and I'm, you know, uh, you know, I was very happy to have left my job in advertising in 2005 after the tsunami to dedicate my life to theater. And I didn't know how I was going to have my first meal or my next meal and things like that. I came out of hardship. My dad passed away when I was 11 years old, and he was a doctor, but sadly, he didn't have much in his bank account. My mom still does the same job now that she has been doing. She still works for a newspaper. And thankfully, as a result, the media is very friendly with me also. But they've seen me transform. And I think by not running behind money, just like Valjean, things started to work in my favor. And I found that doing community theater and working on things, people started to believe in me more. And I think it's important then that you pay that forward. And also the legacy that I have, I know I'm leaving to my theater troupe and to the arts community in Sri Lanka. That is my goal for people and young directors who didn't have the opportunities that I had, or I didn't have also, to have more opportunities to actually create new works. Because it's to do original work. That's my theater troupe, Center Stage Productions.
Do you think
has
it's a
been doing-
dying industry now?
Sad to say, but we compete with, cable TV, or we
Netflix,
compete.
yeah.
I didn't want to mention the particular networks, but we compete with all those things, and TV and cinema and things like that. But live theater is amazing. Live theater is about bringing a community together. It is that not anxiety, but that
rush.
adrenaline rush that
Yes.
something could even go wrong.
Yeah.
But you're also living and breathing
Excitement
the
and-
same air that the performer is breathing. You can see their sweat, you can see the passion, and it's never the same. Movies and teledramas and TV
Retakes and
yeah,
then
those are retakes,
filters.
and it's an editor's medium because it's the editor that sets the pace, and it's a director's and editor's medium. Theater is an actor's medium because they are their own editor, sound engineer, manager. They are the ones who carry the chronology of the play and the narrative forward. And I think really theater is where you cater to a vast community, from the intelligentsia to the even during Shakespeare's time, from the nut sellers and the women of whatever, to royalty in the same space. And it brings that community together to see themselves and to see themselves through kings and queens and lions and leopards and all sorts of things. But you see yourself in an oblique way, and I think that stimulates a kind of a greater part of your brain, if you like, because you can satire and things like that, things that you can't do in cinema, and things like for other reasons, for censorship and things like that. Even in theater we do come under censorship, but there are different ways in which we can talk about the same thing.
But what about funding? How
yeah.
does theatre live in Colombo?
Yeah,
if
so
there's no
when
funding?
so that cost is quite vast for a production, but plays like Phantom and Les Mis and things like that, even 10 years ago, cost as much, if not more, in now money. But in a way, we're not doing it as a business. We never have. We do it for passion.
Yeah, I
But-
guess though the production cost is so much, the actors get paid less.
No,
I think. Sometimes you don't get paid at all.
We don't, because English theatre I've done all my life, and only single language theatre is commercial or professional. So we are an amateur theatre troupe also, but all the professionals get paid their due. We see to it that more than a payment, because the industry standard is
Covering
such.
the cost.
Industry standard is such that if we try to pay these doctors and lawyers and all that, people will laugh at us also. Because even single language theatre that I've done, Trojan Kantao, I mean, I shouldn't talk about it in detail, but what we get paid for in single language theatre doesn't really cover the cost of are transferred for one day.
mode, yeah.
For one day.
Exactly.
For
it's
doing
a
a
challenge
show
as
and
well.
to
So
do
it's
2 shows.
pure passion and
Yeah. So a play of ours, a big show, has to pay itself back over several years and several stages. So
an
we take that,
investment now.
it's an investment. So when we look at the costumes and props, we think, okay, we're going to have to do an immersive version, this version, that version. And we look at how
You're
many years
smart.
it's going to take
To
because
bring
our
it
plays
back
come
again.
Yeah, our plays always come back. Like I always say, like
Rag has
Horrible
come back,
Rash,
yes.
which it does come back and has come back because Rag has celebrated its 20th anniversary. Pyramus, we've done 12 runs of it, both locally and internationally. We tour overseas. Because we do original work, our plays have to come back. And they do. Thankfully, we have an audience for our plays, so they do come back. Lots of theatre troupes do fantastic, massive shows, but it's a one-time thing. And so then the costumes and the props and sets, they're there, but then, and that cost has very little return. And I don't, like, even this time when I was pricing the tickets, I was given pricings to put to cover our costs, and I said no, I want people to come, we have to bring it down, and let's cover up for, if you get 60, 70, 80% houses, 100% houses, fantastic. Please do come and watch the show.
What are the dates?
It's from the 22nd to the 23rd, and again from the 27th to the 30th of November. So we're running for 6 nights. It's all
Tickets
evening shows.
online? Any
Online
locations?
and at the Lionel Wendt Theatre. The Lionel Wendt is developing an online platform, so they'll
lovely.
be handling that.
Box plan opens when?
By mid-October, we have opened unofficially for bulk bookings and things like that, but we do want to give the Lionel, because we do want to support the theatre, the Lionel and Theatre as well, because through their commissions and things like that, they develop the space. It's all about us giving, because of this production, some of my technical team has actually even helped the Lionel Wendt to fix some of the the fly bars and things like that needed some fixing.
you have a very close emotional connection towards the Lionel Wendt.
It's because it's our Mahagedara.
Yeah.
Ape Mahagedara, because I got on that stage when I was 5 years old.
Long time ago, 5 years.
Yeah, with my father.
Okay. Yes, he also acted, I remember.
In a production of spiritual, at that time the word that they used was Negro spirituals. We shouldn't use those terms, but it was all Christine Tamimud to stage these shows, and I was the little slave boy in that. When my dad sang Old Man River with his wonderful baritone, he had a better voice than I had, and he sang that Old Man River. I can't get it that with that deep booming voice, and I was a little slave boy at 5 years old, and my brother and I had to pretend to sleep, and my brother actually fell asleep.
So you always wanted to become an actor, even when you were...
I wanted to be not an actor, I wanted to be a director.
Oh.
So I was known as not even theatre, it was Chitrapati Adhyakshaka. So always, because my mom studied for journalism, she studied for almost 2 years at the Michigan University in the US. She studied filmmaking also as one of her components. So she came back with all these books, which I started reading at a very young age. So at 6 years old, I was doing storyboards and screenplays and figuring out all these things and wanting to create my own movies. Then I was sent to apprentice. My mom believed even if you're 9 years old, 10 years old, 8 years old, you should start. And she encouraged me. So she wanted me to apprentice under various directors. In the 90s and late 80s, they were running around bushes and watching the Hindi movies and duplicating
Copying
those.
it, yeah.
I did not want to create that type of movie. Now they do amazing stuff.
But will you ever make a movie?
Well, Stormy Weather came closest to that, but my first love was movies. And I found that on stage I could do some of these things now that I couldn't do in movies. So from Chitrapati Adhyakshaka, I became actor and director, for the stage. But it was quite by accident.
So when you come again the next time, you talk to Jehan Aloysius, the Chitrapati Adhyakshaka.
Out of all the roles you play in a production, like screenwriter, then
composer and playwright and things
what
like
is your favorite? Like, do you like
directing.
acting or directing?
Directing. I do love acting. But I can tell you that the hats I wear, because even in the show I wear the hat of the director, the design of the male costumes, I design the lighting, I do the marketing, producing, various things. All of those were out of necessity, even choreography and things like that. Not because I wanted to do it, because I had to do it and we didn't have the money to pay. So that's why we're able to do these shows and cover our costs sometimes.
So knowing all that helps you in your overall role as a director.
Yes.
I'm not
it's
alone,
being
because there are
multifaceted.
people like Julie Taymor, who created Lion King, or Lin-Manuel, who did Hamilton, who also wear these multiple hats. So unfortunately, there are very few, but there are people like that who do it. And it's not about being a control freak, though they do come very close to being that. But it's about really getting things done. And that at the end of the day, because we tend to have to depend on a lot of people and we don't have the capacity to spend on all these people. And then people, when they're not, if it's professional, not even, they don't really come for rehearsal sometimes. So then you've got to do it yourself. But directing is something that I always wanted to do, and it all comes under this same thing. And when I had to play the lead in some of my shows, it was quite again by accident, because I would always cast someone else. I really don't believe that actors should, directors should act. I think it's important to have that external view. But when I've had to do it, and usually I do it for the first time we're staging one of my shows, it's because I know that actor is going to be there at every single rehearsal, and we're not going to have problems. He's not going to leave the show and things like that. These things do happen.
That's
you
a
have-
ploy that you use.
Yes.
You have a
So on that note, I think...
So I'm going to end there then.
No, I have
Yeah.
one more question.
Yeah.
Okay, now this production is done and it's almost premiering. Anything that you want to do in the future?
Well, with this show?
No.
Or in the future?
Yeah,
Well,
another
I want to
production.
do my play Crossing the Line. We hope that we will have to do several other shows next year to cover the deficit of this show, because it is the ticket sales won't cover the cost. We definitely know that. So we have planned to bring back some of our other works, but also to work on new passion projects. Passion projects don't always, like my play reality show and various other projects, and even Venus United, they may be standing ovations every night, but because the content is more adult or not really family oriented, or they may be literary works, you have to then balance, because we want to do those projects.
Yes.
You have to then find ways to cover those costs, because the audiences won't pack the seats as much as they would for a family musical or a comedy. So you have to do it, because as an artist, we are the scribes of our times. We need to talk about what is going on without, preaching
Throwing
a
it
message.
at- throwing it
Otherwise,
in
if you want to
their
preach a
faces.
message, then find a pulpit. Don't do theatre. But you can stimulate people's minds and allow people to discuss and debate and create a forum for discussion. And the play can be a point of departure for discussion and debate. Even my play Rag was instrumental eventually in some high court judges making a decision about ragging shortly after. They were at the show as well last year. And several of my plays have actually made a change, and the final song in Rag was There's a Change, and we lived through ragging. It was semi-autobiographical. So we hope that A Christmas Carol, this wonderful play with a fantastic cast, from Sean to Joanne to Dion and various other people, and those who are helping backstage like Angelo and all who have been part of the preview, all those casts. And the preview cast was also so close to my heart.
Amazing.
And people like you who have supported me in my journey. I really want to thank you guys, because coming on something like this is something that is very special to me, because it's a continuation of a journey that I think we are also building and have been building for decades. I think Kumar has seen me from the time I was a 19-year-old. And it's an actual honor to be here and to talk to you who have also seen the preview and things like that. And so thank you for having me, and thank you to your crew and
It was
everyone
such
here.
a pleasure having you, seeing the different.
Thank you so very much. Yeah. Good
moods
luck
of
and
him.
all the very best with the Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Dates not to be missed. Do not miss it. I'm going twice, by the way.
Yeah, me too.
So thanks very much once again. Good luck all over again.
Good luck with the production.
Here we are at the beautiful our location, La Maison de Colombo, the French boutique hotel and restaurant at Stratford Avenue number 5. Until we meet again, have fun.